together through a series of meetings and a retreat. And again, the folks who are involved on Thursday night will get an idea of, in each column, this is what the board will ask of the administration to accomplish in each given year. And those are in pencil, not ink, because some years we have to move and adjust based on priorities or things that happen. But it's really important. Our board evaluates their own performance based on how well we're able to accomplish these goals. The next document that will be in the packet is Dennis will take us through. Again, our teacher group, our administrative group, and our school board has been trained in the ELS, or the Educational Leadership System, and that will talk about each person's role in our community, from consultative to governance to management. And it's just, again, it's helping folks understand what's expected of them so that we don't get off on our expectations of each other. We found that to be real helpful. It's not a lengthy, heavy philosophical conversation. It's just some real practical ways to help us how we're going to govern. And then lastly, we have what's called guiding change documents. I know it's hard to see out there, but they're also on the district's website after they're approved tonight. Actually, the school board has already approved. We have the technology approved. That was approved in the past. Academics were approved in the past. And then I'm asking tonight that we approved in the guiding change document for our operations and facilities group, that this gives us the unacceptable means. In other words, if we as a board say that we're going to be open-minded and flexible, we have to really make sure we continue to focus that way, but there might be some deal breakers. And so the purpose to a guiding change document is that we can, and most times, to be honest, the unacceptable means are either statutory or ethical or legal kinds of deal breakers. You know, it's not the kinds of things we won't consider a turf field, or we won't consider whatever. It's just the rules of how we operate. But then on this guiding change document is the why on the left-hand side. For example, for the academic group, we know that there's an achievement gap, and we judge it to be unacceptable. That's the why. We're not satisfied. If you go to the far right column on academics, the what might be that we establish norms, or we establish programming to eliminate the achievement gap, at the same time raising the score for all students in the system, or something along those lines. So we have the why, the unacceptable means, and then the results, the what. And we'll share that with everybody too. We'll have the academics, the technology, and the excellence in operations and facilities for everybody that evening. And I think, Sarah, that's the last document, right? Any questions, comments, or?
A lot to take in.
There's a lot of information here, but again, I just want to echo what Reggie said. You know, to have folks sign up to be a part of this is just a real gift, and I don't think anyone up here takes that lightly. And the fact that we've got people that can animately disagree with each other during the politics of education, but yet can come together for kids in a community, I think that says a lot about the deep roots and the integrity of the Shakopee community. And I know there are people that are maybe a little bit nervous and anxious about Thursday night, maybe myself included. But I know at the end of Thursday night, things will feel a lot better. And there's a tremendous amount of hope when you have 175 people from this community signing up to do better for our kids and our community. And I do want to stress, by the way, community. This last week I spoke at the chamber with Brad Tapke, our mayor, and it is quite clear that the city is also ready to be open-minded, opening and flexible to working with the schools, because I think there have been a lot of opportunities that if we had partnered together and brought proposals together, whether it's a senior center, a community center, whatever it could be, there's a lot of low-hanging fruit there that if we do this thing together and we do it right, I think it's going to be in the best interest of all students, but all people in our community as well. So I'm just really thankful, really excited people are willing to give us a chance to steer the ship right, and we will do that.
So would you like a motion to approve the Guiding Coalition membership as well as the Guiding Change documents?
Yes, and I would ask that you appoint the Guiding Coalition per what the board said they were going to do, and then accept membership on the action team. And I see Chuck has a question.
Chuck?
Actually, I'm ready to make that motion with the understanding that if people find that that really isn't the role they want, there may be the ability to move, but otherwise I'll make the motion to appoint the Guiding Coalition, accept the action team membership.
Thank you.
Second.
Any other discussion? Rich?
Just to clarify, is that just limited to the membership, not the guiding change document? We're going to treat that separate? Okay, yeah.
Okay. Any other discussion?
I just want to say, echo what Reggie said, what everybody said. Great turnout. I know a lot of people on this list. A lot of people are friends I haven't met yet. Looking forward to getting to know them and participating in the very passionate debate that is solution-driven and ready to move this community forward.
Any other comments? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion will pass.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion that we accept the guiding change document as presented.
Is there a second? Any discussion? Hearing, go ahead. I heard you take a deep breath.
Getting ready.
That was the
Okay.
Mountain Dew talking.
Okay. Any other discussion besides Mountain Dew? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion will carry. Thank you, everybody, for all the work you did and for the people who volunteered for these committees. It's really appreciated. I'll move to item 8, which is new business action items, and it's the 2014-15 preliminary capital expenditure budget, and Mike will present.
Short PowerPoint, I hope to keep it short. Although Mr. Bisa gave me his time to do.
That's a rumor.
It has to be in writing.
That takes board motion.
Absence is forfeiting.
So we're talking about preliminary capital expenditure budget. All right. This goes. What we'll talk about is the budget, the building fund position as of the end of March, review detail the proposed 2014 projects and what we've come up with to date. Action item is to approve the preliminary budget, and then we'll have a kindergarten edition update. Capital budget, I believe it was in your paper.
It's in the packet.
And in your packet, and this is my PowerPoint abilities, as limited as they are. So revenues were going to be in 2015 are going to be about 3.9 million. That's up from 2.7, and mainly that's the lease levy we're using for the kindergarten additions.
And Mike, just for clarity again, what budget area are we staying in right now?
This is the capital budget only
Right.
currently. It's not the building fund. Capital only, not general, not adding staff or any of that stuff. So you can kind of see some of our copiers, our lease space. Curriculum will remain about the same on the capital budget. Technology, we are adding a new initiative to include Infinite Campus, the finance system. So we'll be moving from Lawson. We've talked to the county, they're upgrading, and we don't have enough internal support to continue with Lawson. So we're moving to Infinite Campus. Hopefully the internal support will, that's our student system. They also have a finance system, which a number of their people had come from Lawson. So it feels like a good fit, and we'll be exploring it more, but pretty close to pulling the trigger on that one and being online with Infinite Campus for the finance system in about the January to March timeline. And so, equipment, again, 700,000, leaving that about the same. Building level capital, we bump up a little bit. Activities and equipment for buildings and grounds, we bump up each of those. The equipment for buildings and grounds, we're going to need a new truck. We've lost a transmission on I think it's a 98 or something like that. We're going to need a new truck, so that's why that one's a little bit higher this year. Health and safety, this is 270. Again, this is a preliminary budget, and we will have a couple projects with Sweeney. They have some asbestos tile that'll need to be abated, and some of the rooms that we're adding carpet, you gotta take the tile out before you add the carpet, and then also the cafeteria here at Central has carpet on the cafeteria floor. When we pull that, we'll probably pull up some asbestos tile as well. Asbestos tile is abatable, and once we start breaking it up, it's not a hazard, but it is a hazard. So that's health and safety. So you can see that we're going from to about $4,087,000. We'll spend down our fund balance $177,000 to about $1,635,000. Or that's what I would propose. The construction fund, now this is Fund 6. What we're looking at is, again, we're at about $14,000 in cash currently. That doesn't
A little bit more.
A little more.
More than 13,000.
14 million, yes, 14 million, sorry, yes, 14 million. Those commas get me every time.
Write me a
And he's
check.
our numbers guy. He's our numbers guy.
Check written for
Thank you
him.
for the correction. Anyways, we'll have some possible land purchases. You know, what we've set aside some money for that. We have some land for sale by Jackson.
Mike, could you just hang for just a minute? The possible land purchases. Now, this is another perfect example of action team guiding coalition work here. We've thrown out numerous examples of what we might need, but we're not going to predetermine what we need. We're going to set a budget that will allow for flexibility of whatever the options are that come out of it. But that's why you see a range too of low and high, because we don't know for sure when we do that, if it's now or if it's later, and of course cost increase. So we did a spread here of possibilities.
Right, and all the available board initiatives fall into that same category of these things aren't done yet.
Yep.
You know, we're still exploring the possibilities. And this was just an administrative list that we've come up with, and some ranges of things that we have out there that, you know, we have a 10-year capital plan that's $30 million, so deferred maintenance that hasn't been done. So just once again, these are the revenue side and the expenditure side for that. So you could see I don't know if that got kind of cut off at the bottom, but it could be a plus $4 million or there could be a minus $5 million, depending on what case and what choices are made. So the available board initiatives, I would suggest that we're going to do those about $200,000 worth of projects. It'll probably be less than that. I just want to have a little something left over just in case there's some things that come up over the summer that need to be done. Kindergarten FF&E, $500,000 to $1 million. We have been able to roll some of those furniture and fixtures and equipment into the building projects, into the lease levy kindergarten. So that number is down a little bit, but we budgeted about $800,000 for that project, curriculum and equipment, and part of it's going to roll into the lease levy. Technology, again, that's off of JP's plan on technology purchases. Security phase 2, I'm saying we don't know, again, what people want us to do, so I'm saying for the summer of 2015 we'd be working on those. They could move up, they could move back, it just all depends.
And again, though, Mike, we're talking about enhancements, making, and instead of the analog security cameras going to the high def digital,
Yeah.
whatever, that kind of thing. But that too, that's kind of that weeds work that we talked about with action teams and so forth, is we're looking for our community to say what kind of an enhancement or investment do we want to make in these things. And it would be no surprise that when Mike lays these out, you can see these are elements of the past referendum too, which makes sense that if those were our needs, now we have a chance to ask the community. Again, we're not assuming we're doing them. We're just putting a budget in there should the groups find that as an option.
Right. Stadium initiatives, our track needs to be replaced. It needed to be replaced 2 years ago, and we put, $50,000 in patches in it and things like that, but it's still, inside corners are wearing out. And so we need to do something with that quickly, or at some point. And again, okay, you fix the track, now do you fix is it a turf field, is it a grass field, we have lacrosse now, how do we get all those things? And again, that's why we have the action committee.
Mm-hmm.
And once again, deferred maintenance projects beyond 2014. At the election, we had, $3 million in there for that. So again, you could end up between 4 million positive and 4 million negative, just on what people decide.
So you're looking tonight, Mike, for this is a preliminary approval, correct?
Right.
And when will you come back for formal approval?
If we get the preliminary on the projects, June 10th, so
Okay.
we'll have
We have time.
two committee meetings in there, and again, the board initiatives can wait. I mean,
Sure.
probably the 10-year plan improvements would like to get some action on.
Right.
But
Well, one thing I would add, Mike, is that I don't think I said it before, but with the action team and the guiding coalition, the conceptual framework is that it's asking our community for help for the bricks and mortar. But what I didn't say is that if there are things in there that come out of it that as consultative groups to the board, let's just say the track and the grass or whatever it is, we do have some reserves, but we're looking for some of that feedback from the community to say, are these things that are so dire need that we'd consider moving them up and then not doing them on a referendum, for example, and what leverage does the city have if these are being used with the city and this booster programs and so forth. So that gives us a chance to engage the boosters, the community, the city, the Parks and Rec, those kinds of things. But I think it's responsible of us to put a kind of a minimum and a maximum budget, because if no one else partners with us, but yet the community says, this is a need, we want that track, now we have to figure out, we probably would need to have to figure out a way, because we aren't going to take track away from the kids, for example. So that's an example of why that's such a wide spread of budget there.
The next slide just shows some of the small projects that I was suggesting in that $200 capital. Some carpet at the West Junior High offices, East Junior High offices need some carpet replacement. The carpet tiles at the entrances at the high school need to be replaced. They're pretty worn out after 7 years. We need a condensation tank for our boiler at Central, otherwise it won't work next fall. So we're trying to upgrade a little bit to a $30,000 tank, and hopefully that lasts longer than the 5 years the last one did. Again, remove carpet at VCT and the cafeteria for where the little kids eat. Sun path, we're behind on our locks. We're bringing that's the only system that has 2 keys. A teacher has to have 2 keys, one to get in their door and one to get into their section or their clusters. So we're trying to bring that up. And then the 2 lunch tables there and the 4 lunch tables at Eagle Creek are for the kindergarten additions. We needed space there as well.
So we'll seek preliminary approval of the budget.
Is there any questions?
I have a question. Mike, I've not thought this through. There may be reasons why we couldn't even do this or shouldn't do it. You mentioned the truck and needing a new truck. Historically, and would we ever consider approaching Shakopee Chev, Apple Ford, and saying, are you interested in donating, a stripped down model? They could put donated by Apple Ford on it. It's got Shakopee Public Schools on it, but maybe they need a write-off, or they're looking for a write-off, or they're just community-minded. Have we ever considered that?
I believe when Brian at the high school needed a truck for the construction trades, we did get one from Apple Ford.
Okay. Well, it would seem
So
to me
it's-
that it's something we should explore or consider.
We will.
Worst thing I could do is
Because,
say no.
because the 40,000, if he spends 40,000 on a truck, then or if he spends 30,000 on a truck, he only has 10,000 for custodial equipment, so
Right.
there's incentive to do that, so.
So maybe what we'll
I'll
do
bring
too
that
is
up with Kate.
let's send out to the board the policies as it pertains to the naming and advertising. So we'll send that out to the board too, so you can look at that, because if we do that advertising, which I think is a good idea, we just want to make sure we got our ducks in a row there, and so we'll get that out to you by the next school board meeting.
Anything else? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the preliminary capital budget.
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion will stand approved. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you. And then I just did want to bring us up to date with the kindergarten additions. All the buildings, again, were under budget, so we're doing well there. We're looking at other scope things that fit in with the remodels. We'll move some equipment costs to the project, the smart boards, the projectors, the short throw projector to use the smart board. Those things will be included in some of the costs now, maybe the tables and the chairs, those kinds of things. We'll move some of that into that budget. Again, we've reviewed the 10-year plan to include some of the carpet replacement, some of the paint. We're fixing the storage at Sweeney to make that a little bit better. And it's all we're watching the budget closely, and ICS will probably have a budget update for us at the next, either at the April 28th or for sure by the May 12th board meeting, whatever date that is. All buildings are, for the construction process, we're receiving all the shop drawings, we're getting all the insurance, the performance bonds, all those things are finally starting to roll in, the signed contracts, those things, so that is coming together. Most of the fences got put in place at all the buildings. I saw last weekend or last week that most of the silt fencing is also in place at all the buildings. And they have started work today. They started work at Sweeney and they started work at Sunpath. So there's a picture of the Sweeney looking from, that's looking from Lions Park. And so that's the hill is kind of going away. But the door will still have the hill, we'll have the hill back in place after the addition goes up, so that we'll use that door as an exit. I continue to use that door as an exit. This is looking from the west towards that same area. You can see the orange spike, the orange stake in front that kind of gives us an idea of how far that's coming out. You can see the block has already been delivered on the left-hand side there. And then another shot. I'm trying to get the orange stakes in there a little bit to kind of give you some idea. And then again, there's some rebar down in front for your viewing pleasure.
Came here to look at
Then we go to Sunpath. Sunpath is the only building where we had to take the fuel storage tank out because it's right in the middle of the footings, so we need to move it closer to the boiler plant, and there's plenty of room for all that to happen, but we needed to remove that. And that's what a storage tank looks after since 1998 it was in the ground. So looks pretty good. Fiberglass, there's a couple nicks in it that I'm hoping they can fix before they put it back in, because we didn't pay for an additional new tank. So they'll get that fixed before they reinstall that. Again, that kind of came out, you can see the basketball hoop and then the tree, and then there's an orange stake, a stake with an orange top on it. That's about where the tank came out of. That's looking from the east back at the sun path. Cafeteria is the large windows there. And then finally, looking from the cafeteria, the excavated pit, you can see the fence around the playground. The fence is short and just in front of the ramp where they can use the playground, continue to use the playground equipment. You can see the silt fence behind the playground equipment, so it's been a little bit of a supervisory issue to keep the kids away from the silt fence, but the principal understands what's happening, so we have that same kind of situation over at Jackson. So they haven't started at Jackson, Red Oak, or Eagle Creek. I wasn't there. I didn't look today at Eagle Creek or Red Oak, so I don't know if they started there. But I didn't see any excavation going on at Jackson. So, but anyways, the silt fence condition is the same at Jackson as it is at Sunday. That's what I have.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
Well, since there is no assistant superintendent update, we'll go right to the superintendent update.
Sarah, I think you had called to my attention that there was one particular thing I needed to do.
The Shakopee celebrates reading from the
Okay, so
Rotary Club.
the handout you have in front, or the little slip of paper here, is a call out to that Shakopee celebrates reading, sponsored by our Rotary Club, is April 22nd from 1 to 1:45. Our first graders from across the district, plus SACs and Living Hope students, will be in attendance. And if we're going to be in attendance, it has the
An email address, please, RSVP to Joan Lynch.
Joan Lynch.
If we're going to be there, or irrespective?
I believe you're going to be there.
It's at the high school, correct?
Oh, yeah. Sorry, that would have been, yes, yes.
730 first
Very nice.
Anything else, Rob?
No, I don't have anything else.
Committee updates? Any committees been meeting? Other than Carver Scott no longer is in existence, we adjourned our last meeting because all the business of selling buildings and making sure the contracts were up to date is done. So MRFSEC is still in existence until we figure out a couple other of the finances. I think it's going to be around for another 2 months, but Carver Scott is officially gone. Nothing else from any other committees? If not, anything you want to add, Matt?
Nope.
Sean? Scott?
Yeah, I just wanted to chime in for a second, just to kind of recap all the business that we approved for the Thursday night meeting, and just kind of say, I was just looking at all the documents. I mean, we've been going through this for, a couple weeks now. We kind of knew what was going to happen, but for the folks at home and the folks that